Welcome everyone, Dr. Kyle Anderson from Stuckey Chiropractic. Audience participation is appreciated and facts required, so if you don't smile and raise your hand, I will pick on you. You'll be my partner for the duration. Just gonna throw it out there right now so we're on the same page. So, by show of hands, how many think it's possible to live a life free of sickness and disease and free of the debilitating effects of arthritis? Is it possible?
Yes.
Awesome. Good. For those of you who didn't raise your hand, would you be willing to listen how this might be possible? See how this works? We're smiling, we're nodding. Nice. Okay. So, the goal tonight to teach you young and healthy people how to stay young and healthy for the rest of your lives. Most people sit idly by hoping and praying when they're 80 they're healthy without having done anything to actually be healthy, right? It takes work. So, set the stage. We're going to take a look. The World Health Organization studied the top 100 modern healthcare systems. And of the top 100, I'll give you the answer to the first one. We are the best in the world at saving lives. If you have a car accident, a heart attack, you are in the best place to survive that catastrophic event. We have the most doctors, most medicine, most technology, you name it, we've got it. But the big question is, where do we rank in overall healthcare? Not number one. Unfortunately, we are 37th. There are 36 other countries that have fewer doctors, less medicine, less technology, and yet they're healthier than we are. A little ironic? Yeah. And we rank 24th in healthy life expectancy. You might live to be 80.1 year old or 79.2 years old for you guys, but you spend the last 5 years in nursing home, tubes, wires, in a wheelchair. That's not a healthy life, right? None of us want to get to that point. Put us out of our misery at that point, really. So what we're doing right now in our country, maybe not working so well, right? Now, this is the doom and gloom portion of the workshop, so bear with me, all right? But we're going to talk about dying. So, there are 3 leading causes of death right now in the United States today. Anyone guess at what number 3 might be? Anyone?
Cancer.
Cancer. Excellent, excellent guess, and you are correct. It is cancer. Here's the thing. Amazingly, your odds of getting cancer are pretty high. So, sorry about that one. Be a buzzkill there, but the fact is, look at what it was just 40 years ago. In the last 40 years, we've had a 10-fold increase in cancer. So what's different? Oh, we're better at diagnosing. That's what people like to say. But in reality, that's not the diagnosis. People still die from it, but we're getting it more often. And the reason is not because of, oh, my mom had it, my grandma had it, I'm going to get it, right? Most people, that's what we think. But the fact is, we are spending a ton of money on treating cancer, where in reality, we're not getting the root cause. It's not genetics. Only 3 to 5% of any cancer has anything to do with the genes you were born with. It comes down to the decisions and choices we make. We spend a ton of money on treating and researching the cure for cancer. On average, $60 billion. Last year alone, over $200 billion was spent on just cancer treatment and research, and it's still the 3rd leading cause of death. Almost 500,000 people die of cancer every year in our country. So how are we doing at curing cancer? Not so great. The cure for cancer ultimately is make good lifestyle choices. Make good decisions so we don't actually get cancer. It's the choices we make that actually determine that. Second leading cause of death is?
Heart disease.
Good guess, it is heart disease. Is heart disease the loud killer or the?
Quiet.
Quiet. The silent killer, exactly. Because 60% of people, by the time they actually feel like they're having a symptom of a heart attack, it's oftentimes too late. Hey, today, it's Monday, I feel awesome. And then they don't wake up tomorrow. Would you say that person's healthy knowing they might be dead in the next 24 hours? Probably not. But that's the mindset most people are in. Oh, I don't hurt right now, I must be healthy. If you have a little bit of pain, well, now I'm not healthy. Pain comes and goes. Only about 10% of your nerves feel pain. But pain is the last thing to show up with a better problem. And heart disease is no different. And that's why it's the silent killer, not the loud killer. And it is dramatically on the rise. Almost 800,000 people die from heart disease in our country. And yet, there's something else that's even more prevalent. What do you think is number 1 leading cause of death in the United States today? Anyone have a guess? And it might surprise you, so I'll back it up with some research based on it. Well, here it comes. The leading cause of death is actually medical care. Let that sink in. I know you probably were not expecting that, but the fact of the matter is, according to the most recent research, the Journal of the American Medical Association, this is the world's most prominent medical journal, documented that we know of 212,000 people die every year from adverse drug reactions. correct drug, correct time, correct dosage, and yet these people are still dying from this drug even though they were supposed to be taking the right one. Amazingly, only between 5 to 20% of drug reactions are even reported. So that number could be astronomically higher because a lot of times if you're taking 5 or 6 different medications and you have a heart attack, was it actually a heart attack or a combination of all these different cocktail of medications and chemicals that you put in your body that actually contribute to that? So we don't know, but these are what we actually do know. Another statistic, according to the journal, 145,000 people died from surgeries they didn't actually need. Whoa. I've had patients, the next door neighbor passed away, spinal surgery, here in town. Complications, right? There is no such thing as a safe surgery. 145,000 people died from surgeries they didn't actually need. If you watched 100 people walk into a hospital, 28 of the people that walked in are because of the drug they're taking. That's amazing. 28% of all hospital visits are because of drug reactions. 100,000 from infections they contract in the hospital. Okay, we add them all up, 1.2 million people, over 400,000 more than heart disease. The equivalent of 1 9/11 every single day are dying from, essentially, normal medical practice in our country. Now, I'm not bashing medicine. I grew up with a family, mom, sister, nieces that are nurses, okay? There's a time and a place for medicine. If I don't take this drug, I'm gonna die. Give me every drug you got. I was in a catastrophic accident. Cut me open, do whatever you have to save my life. But to think I can take a handful of medications and suddenly make myself healthy because I've been making poor lifestyle choices for the last 20 years and think that that's going to make me healthier, unfortunately, is probably going to take you the other direction. There is no such thing as a drug without a side effect. So the fact is, our goal is to make sure you don't die as one of these three things, because guess what? They're all preventable. It's not something that you can just catch in the air. The good choices and the lifestyle choices that we make are all going to help determine that. Now here's the really cool part about all this. Your body is made to heal itself. No drugs required. The power that made the body heals the body. It's what you have built in every single cell in your body, the ability to grow, heal, and develop. Actually think about it. If you cut your arm, you think about healing anything? No. Your body does it on its own. We all start out as 2 cells. 9 months later, here we are. How those 2 cells don't make a leg, a liver? That's pretty cool, right? The power that made the body heals the body. Now, that power that's keeping you alive and well is really nothing more than energy. Now, you guys all feel a big bundle of energy here on a Monday? But the fact is you are full of it, and that energy is what's keeping you alive. Now, that energy is flowing through your body, literally electricity. Okay? What's actually transmitting electricity through your body? There's one system that's actually carrying it. What is it? Your nervous system. Exactly. It is the master system. Controls and coordinates all the systems of your body. It's how you handle your environment, how you adapt to stress. But the fact is, when your nerves are functioning properly, your body's able to heal. Okay? Amazingly, all this starts up in your brain, traveling down your spinal cord and raging 300 miles per hour. It's like a raging river of information flowing down through your spinal cord out to every single cell, tissue, or your body. Now, amazing thing about that is every single cell in your body needs that constant nerve flow to stay alive and well. If you separate any cell in your body from that nerve signal, the cell will die. There are certainly plenty of tissues and cells in your body that actually don't have an active blood supply, and they work just fine, but they've all got an active nerve supply. Now, when we talk about your nervous system, certainly we do need to talk about your spine. They are not one and the same, but they certainly are connected. Now, the interesting thing about your nervous system, of the 9 major systems in your body, the central nervous system is the only one in your body that's completely cased in bone. Your skull protecting your brain, your spine protecting your spinal cord. Why do you think that is? Why do you think your central nervous system needs hard bone to protect it?
It's really important.
It's really important. It is. And not only is that, it is also extremely fragile. If you were to bruise your skin, a week, 2 weeks goes by, it can never even happen. If you were to bruise your nerve, we're not talking days, weeks, maybe months, maybe years. Honestly, some of them, maybe never. Because your nerves are so highly specialized in what they're capable of doing, that if they do get injured, they take an extraordinarily long period of time to heal. In fact, they're the slowest healing tissue in your body because of how specialized they are. We certainly know people with concussions and other things like that. You bruise the brain. It takes a long time for those things to heal. Long-term effects on that, okay? So that's why, one, we need hard bone to protect it. The other thing that we're looking at is that your spine, when we look at it, it should be straight. It's kind of like a garden hose. If you're out watering your car, or washing your car, or watering your grass, water's pouring out, and all of a sudden the water stops coming out. What just happened? You look over your shoulder, sure enough, put a kink in the hose. Well, guess what happens to the flow of energy information when we put a kink in your spine? Do you think that's going to slow down the flow of information from your brain to the rest of your body? Mm-hmm. You bet. The fact of the matter is, at a 10-degree curve in the spine, which is probably about like that, 10 degrees, that's called scoliosis. But the medical research tells us that when a person's scoliosis reaches 20 degrees or greater, on average, their lifespan, 14 years shorter than the average person. Not because it hurts. Oftentimes when people come in and they have no idea they can have it, they woke up with a stiff neck one day. But the fact is, long-standing scoliosis in the spine is directly going to compromise nerve function and ultimately then going to compromise organ function. These people lose the ability to heal themselves the way they're supposed to. So that's why when we talk about the spine being straight, that is one of the main reasons why it's so important. So the brain can be sending information from your brain to your body without any restriction. Now, the number one thing that's going to be affecting the function of your nervous system that relates to your spine is something that we call a subluxation. Big fancy word that basically means, how many of you heard this word subluxation before? Okay? What does it mean? Jessica, you told me, what does that do as a subluxation?
Interference of energy flow, pinched off, yeah.
Good, good. You're right, it is. Your spine basically has shifted out of alignment, pinching off and slowing down the flow of energy flowing through your nerves. It's basically preventing the nerves from functioning as supposed to. And ultimately, it's a result of trauma or stress. Can we all agree we've had probably trauma or stress in our life? Most of you have had it today. I understand. So, the fact of the matter is, the first thing that's going to happen is it's going to shut down the function of the nerves at the level that it happened. So let's pretend you guys, everybody going to run your hand on the back of your neck, okay? You feel that bone that sticks out right at the base of your neck. That's T1, thoracic vertebrae number 1, okay? Some of you might be a little bit tender. Some of you have a little lump is turning into a hump. So we're going to talk about that because we're going to help you with that. But the fact is, if you have a subluxation at T1, just the weight of a dime will decrease that function by 40%. And so these are the main nerves going to your heart and lungs. Kind of a big deal, right? So if you have a subluxation there, it's going to affect the nerves at that level. But guess what? We've got a river. And if you put a dam in the river, what happens to water flowing below the dam? It's going to slow down, right? So the fact is, if you have subluxations in your neck and upper back, it's going to affect the flow of information all the way down. And that's why 90% of people actually with lower back problems have neck problems contributing directly to that. One, because of a decreased flow of information from the brain to the body, and also it's going to weaken and distort your overall posture. Now, I know you guys have perfect posture here, so we can just breeze over this part, but we'll just pretend I know. So it'll be a stretch for some of you. So, I need a volunteer. Oh, thanks, Brooklyn. Come on up. So, you don't have any shoulder problems, do you, Brooklyn? Mm-hmm. Not yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a strong girl like Brooklyn, okay? This kid works out, so she's got some muscles here. And what we're going to do is we're going to test her muscle strength, but we're going to do a couple things. First off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to push your arm down. I don't want you to resist, okay? But what I'm going to have you do is I want you to tuck your chin to your chest. Hold your arm up, don't let me push it down. Now, she's a strong girl, that was way too easy. Okay, let's try it again. This time I want you to tip your head back, look up at the ceiling. Hold your arm up again and resist. That was impressive. Okay, thank you, Brooklyn. So, what we did in a matter of seconds is we took a strong person like Brooklyn and we made her weak. All we did is we changed the position of her head. Can you guys all think of something that may look like Brooklyn was doing? Right there? Anyone? No? Yeah? I understand. So, when we have bad posture, obviously cell phones would be a perfect example of that. What we did, when we're looking down, we exaggerated that forward head posture that most people now experience. And what we did is we took the spinal cord and we stretched it. Now, no different than a rubber band. If you stretch a rubber band, does it get thicker or thinner? Thinner. So if we stretch your spinal cord, it's going to make it thinner. Well, what we did is we compromised then the flow of energy flowing through your spinal cord out to those nerves in the lower neck. And guess what? Those nerves control the muscles in the arm. So what we did is we exaggerated bad posture, muscles got weak. Then we exaggerate good posture. Tip your head back. We relax the spinal cord, increase the flow of energy flowing out to the muscles, and suddenly she got stronger. Just in seconds by changing the position of her head. That's why posture is so important. Now the amazing thing about this is that those same nerves that are going to the muscles in your arm are the same nerves that go to your heart, to your lungs, to your thyroid gland. Who'd like more energy and a faster metabolism? How many of you try to raise your hands? I understand. It's okay. It's part of the deal. Yeah. So the fact of the matter is, when we have bad posture, you slow the flow. It actually causes your body to age and accelerate, and certainly your spine experiences certain stress that cause that to break down and accelerate rate as well. So the moral of the story is subluxations. A small amount of pressure can have a huge effect. The weight of a quarter on your nerves will decrease their function by 60%. The weight of a dime, 40% less function going through those nerves, which is a small amount of pressure. Now, how did we get to these points? How did these subluxations and posture distortions develop? Well, they came really because of one of three things, and they all ended stress. How many of you are married? Oh, there's one. How many of you have kids? There's two. Jobs? In-laws? Financial stress. Sickness in the family, death of love. Is there a day goes by we don't experience some sort of mental stress? No, probably not. So what happens is, first and foremost, with that emotional or mental stress, your brain is perceiving that, okay? And all of a sudden, your brain is saying, uh-oh, we're under stress. It's going to send a message to your adrenal glands. Adrenal glands are going to pump out hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, to help you adapt to that fight or flight response. Well, what happens is, as blood gets pumped to your muscles to try and stay alive and fight or run away, it's going to cause those muscles to tighten up. And as those muscles tighten up, day in and day out, something that was designed to be done for seconds or minutes to save your life is oftentimes day in and day out, weeks, months at a time, because of we're in chronic stress. Those muscles tighten up, and guess what they do? They slowly and over time start to pull and pull until we create a subluxation in your spine, simply because you got stress going on between your ears. It's the one that's the worst because it's with us oftentimes 24/7. Now, cool thing is, getting adjusted actually helps decrease stress hormones in your body. So that's a really awesome side effect. But the fact of the matter is, mental stress is really a damaging part of creating subluxations. If it is a problem that you have, make sure you talk to your doctor so that we can help you with it, because we have tools and strategies to help you work through those things in addition to your adjustments. Chemical stress. Oh, I know none of you ever drink pop, right? None of you drinks alcohol, tobacco, medications. No one ever eats fast food, right? You guys all just drink bottled water, eat organic fruits and vegetables all day long. Yep. Bunch of liars. So the fact of the matter is, whether you ate it, drank it, poked it, popped it, rubbed it on your skin even, ladies, makeups, lotions, if you're going to put it on your body, if you rub it on your skin, you might as well be eating it. You're exposed to chemicals. And so what happens is your organs have to process these chemicals through something called the visceral somatic reflex is what occurs. They're going to, your liver, your kidneys, your intestines are detoxifying your body from these chemicals. What happens is there's something called a visceral somatic reflex, and an internal to external message is sent through your nerves because your organs are under stress. And when that happens, that reflex is going to get sent internal to external, and once again cause imbalances in your structure and the muscle and start to pull your spine out going as well. Last but not least, physical stress. Car accidents, sporting injuries, sleeping on your stomach, sitting. How many of you sit more than 4 hours in a day? Ooh, yeah. Sitting to your spine is like sugar to your teeth. Your spine breaks down when we don't move, okay? And on top of that, it also creates stress in your brain too as well. Physical stress is certainly going to be an easy way to understand how subluxations can then actually directly be created from that trauma to your spine. So the fact of the matter is, lots of things cause stress on your body, leading to subluxations, posture distortions, ultimately blocking energy from your brain, your body, and weakness of your overall posture. Now, here's a thing that or a few things that you might see as a result of subluxations or posture distortions. Now, you might see 1 or 2 or 5 things up there that apply to you. Of all those things up there on the list, which one do you think is the most common sign of nerve stress or weakness? Headache, good guess. Fatigue. How many of you feel like you should have more energy than you do? How many of you are so tired you can raise your hand? 2 hands maybe, okay? Fatigue, probably 90% of people that come in, regardless of condition, they actually mark down fatigue because why am I so tired all the time? I'm 25 years old, why am I so tired? I'm 25. But maybe 8 years old, why am I so tired all the time, right? The fact of the matter is there's a reason why, and I'll explain in a minute. All right, for those who have not participated yet tonight, how many of you were born? There you go, group participation, thank you, yes. Oftentimes this is where the first trauma to your spine occurred because, kind of a gruesome picture, babies are meant to be pushed out by mom, not pulled out by the doctor, right? Would any of you take a delicate little baby, which, what, probably 7 to 9 pounds would be an average sized baby, right? Would any of you take a brand new baby and pick them up by their head? No, of course not, that'd be barbaric, right? But what the research tells us in a normal vaginal birth, 70 to 90 pounds of force is applied to an infant's spine in a normal birth. Now, you throw in forceps or vacuum extraction, it's probably about 5 to 10% of births, 120 pounds of force. At 140 pounds of force, just to illustrate the effect, baby's head actually comes off. To gross you out, but to help illustrate the fact that how babies are born now in our country is not exactly the most gentle or kind to their spine. So, do you think that might be enough to take a delicate little baby who's a bobblehead for the first few months of life to create a subluxation and then from day one? You bet. So, do kids come into our office, let's say, for neck pain and low back pain very often? No. Do they come in for things like ear infections, asthma, allergies, chronic colds, chronic flus, all signs that their immune system is being affected? Well, guess what? The system tells the immune system what to do. Your nervous system, right? So the fact of the matter is, when there is compromised nerve function, there will actually be compromised body organ function. Immune function is a huge aspect of that. So that's why kids come in with problems that they're unaware of. We actually look at kids and get adjusted, and all of a sudden, ear infections go away. Asthma gets better. The body starts to heal itself. And the earlier we find out about these problems, the easier it is to fix things like scoliosis and other things like that. So that's why it's important for kids to get checked for subluxations. Not because they need to get adjusted. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But we need to make sure. Just like we go to the dentist to get their teeth checked for cavities, we still get their spines checked to make sure they don't have subluxations too as well. Okay? Now look at this pretty picture. This right here is a normal looking neck right here. We call it the arc of life because when you have that arc, your spinal cord is relaxed. If you were to take your finger, okay, go ahead and take your index finger, hold it up, take your other hand, I want you to reach over, just squeeze the muscles, the skin. It's kind of soft and squishy, right? Now straighten it out and do the same thing. What just happened? It's tight, it's under tension. That exact same thing just happens to your spinal cord, and we go from having a normal curve in the neck and losing that curve, your spinal cord is now getting stretched. Dr. Elfrey, Swedish scientist, studied anything and everything related to the spinal cord. And one of the studies he did was on people with MS, multiple sclerosis. Now, most people have heard of it, but nobody knows what it is. So basically, MS is essentially the degeneration of the nervous system. The nerves basically start to, the insulation, it's called the myelin, it unravels and kind of falls apart. So now you have a wire, your nerve, trying to transmit electricity. Well, if you don't have an insulator on a wire in your house or your car, what's going to happen? Short circuit, fire, right? Exactly. Well, if you don't have that insulation on your nerves, what's going to happen? Things just aren't going to work. The messages can't travel. And so what happens with people with MS? These people end up in a walker, a wheelchair, they often die at a young age. Dr. Elfrey looked at all these people, and what he found was regardless of age, race, gender, the only common theme they could find is they all lacked a curve in their neck. So they actually did a study, and they did surgery on these people. They literally sliced them open, peeled back the muscles, pounded a curve back in their spine. And then they actually sewn in wire mesh to artificially induce that curve in their neck, sewn them back up, and guess what happened to their MS symptoms? They went away. Wow. Now, amazingly, over time, even with the wire in their neck, the curve went away, and their MS came back. Do you know what the difference was? You can artificially put things in there to put the curve in the neck, but unless you strengthen the muscles, the ligaments, everything actually holds the spine together, even with wire in the neck, you're not going to maintain that. That's what we're going to do is we're talking about ways to show you to help that, no surgery required, and how to keep it that way, okay? Now, this is a perfect illustration here of what we've been talking about to this point. And here's an x-ray of a person with a normal curve in their neck. Here's an MRI. Spinal cord is coming right down through there. If we took this person with a normal curve, we laid them on their back, and we took a cross-section of their spine. Here's the bone. This right here is the spinal cord. You see how big it is? Now, if we go from a person with a normal curve to the first phase of spinal degeneration, we lose the curve in the neck. Look what happens to the size of the spinal cord. Probably 40, 50% smaller than it's supposed to be. So what do you think is going to carry more electricity? A little cord or a big cord? The big one, right? So that's why you might say, well, I just don't have the energy I should. Maybe my body's not healing itself the way it's supposed to. Well, it's kind of running half the juice. And so in order to get it functioning properly, we have to relax the spinal cord so the brain can send messages to the rest of the body. Here's a case that was involved in a car accident. 1961, obviously, a little while before some of you were born. She's going to a medical doctor. The medical doctor says, you're fine, no blood, no broken bones, you're good to go. But she's having headaches and neck pain, so she goes to a chiropractor. And what we do is we follow her 7 years now. It's been since the accident. And what's happening here is she's actually developing progressive degeneration here in the lower neck. There's starting to be bone spurs, these calcium formations are starting to develop. Degeneration of the discs are starting to develop down through here. Progressive forward head syndrome. Her posture is getting worse. Her chiropractor is actually not correcting her problem. Sounds kind of weird coming from a chiropractor, but it's actually still getting worse. And then we fast forward another 7 years, and now you can see it's all advanced. Advanced forward head syndrome. Multiple levels of degeneration. Okay? Hard bone, soft nerve. As that disc degeneration starts to develop, those bone spurs, they start to grow into the nerve, they start to go into the spinal cord. Not comfortable, and ultimately it's going to affect how those nerves are functioning. So, ultimately, what we can see is this person, her posture is continually getting worse, causing the spinal cord to get stretched, causing energy in the cord to plummet, causing stress. And remember what two big organs come out right here at the base of your neck? Heart and lungs, exactly. So what's happening to overall health, do you think? Getting worse, right? Now here's the big question. Can she be helped, or is this permanent damage? She can be helped. Hallelujah. There's still hope. All right? The body can heal itself. All right? So, here's what I want you to do. Take a moment, and I want you to think about these things, because this is important. Ask yourself, think about, what can you not do or enjoy because of your current health status? And I emphasize the words enjoy, because a lot of times people are like, oh, I can still go to work, or I can do this. But do you enjoy it? Are you enjoyable to be around? Now fast forward to me, like, yeah, I know. My husband's not the nicest guy, and he's not feeling it, right? 20 to 50 years from now, what do you want to be like? Because if we've got a problem now, what do you want to do down the road? Okay? A lot of times people are like, well, I want to keep doing the same stuff I'm doing now. Well, hopefully, but if you don't do anything about it, it's just going to ultimately, a lot of times, continue to get worse. Who do you want to do it with? Our goal is not to see one person in your family be healthy, but your whole family. And obviously, it's a no-brainer, but if you have a problem now that you don't take care of and get it corrected, what's going to happen down the road? Better or worse? Worse. So, here's how we're going to go about helping you change that. All right? A special program of care called spinal rejuvenation therapy. Regeneration. The opposite of degeneration. Oh, they're sick of breaking down. Regeneration, younger, healthier, full of life. Your body is healing itself. This is a state-of-the-art system. It's not something we just made up here at Studio Chiropractic, but something we've been training on intensively for the last probably close to a dozen years on how to help you make changes that really no one else can. And what it's really looking at is addressing the amazing power of chiropractic to restore function to your nervous system, and then adding in specific rehab program that's going to allow us to bring these two things together to get you results that either one by itself are not able to do. The first thing we have to work on with the spinal rejuvenation therapy, or SRT, is your posture. How many feel you should have better posture? Yeah, exactly. Okay? Well, why don't you just sit up tall? Stand up straight. Good. About 2 minutes goes by, and all of a sudden, what just happened? You stop thinking about it. Your posture is actually involuntary. It's a reflex. You have to be thinking about it all day, every day. Not going to happen. Okay? So in order to change a reflex, we have to reprogram the messages your brain is sending your body. Okay? Adjustments by themselves won't do that. Actually tried it. I didn't see the changes. But if we take the adjustments and then add in specific exercises to strengthen those postural muscles that actually hold you upright. Postural muscles are different than the ones that need to go to the gym and work on. The ones that look pretty at the beach, they're kind of a fast twitch muscle fiber. We're talking about slow twitch muscles. They're like marathon runners. They're built for endurance. And we have to exercise them differently. There's something called an isometric exercise. Okay? Longer sustained hold as opposed to short and repetitive. Okay? The cool thing about all this though is we're going to teach you how to fix yourself. Ultimately, going to help get you better and then teach you how to flush your spine. Kind of cool. All right? Long term, about 2/3 of the changes that you can experience are what you do at home. So how does it look like? Okay, first off, we have to find out what you're able to do through something called a stress test. Not for your heart, but this is actually for your spine, your nerves, to determine how strong you're actually able to do these things. And what the stress test will do is take you through the spinal rejuvenation warm-up exercise, which I'll talk about demonstrating that, followed by an adjustment to your spine and then a weighted x-ray. What's a weighted x-ray? Well, basically, is we're going to put a little bit of weight on your forehead and on your pelvis. And what happens is your body is wired, it's a reflex to move away from weight. If you pick up something heavy in one hand, what do? You'll need a way to compensate, right? You don't have to think about it, you just do it. It's a reflex. If we put a little bit of weight in your forehead, you should actually pull your head back. And so here is where we see a person, on average, normal, not much curve in their neck, probably 1.5 inches of forward head posture. We put the weight on them right there, and all of a sudden we start to see the head start to come back. Maybe the curves start to improve. If that occurs, awesome, we pass. We know that you're actually strong enough that you can actually do this at home. If you don't get better, don't feel bad. Probably about 10-15% of people don't. We just need to know who you are so we can actually work on some very specific exercises to start to strengthen those muscles to build up so you can actually handle doing these weights eventually down the road. Very, very important part of it, okay? Once we know the answer to that, we can start the process of making Jell-O. You weren't expecting that here, but we're going to be making Jell-O today. All right, so what's the first thing you were going to add to Jell-O? Water, thank you. Not a bunch of Jell-O experts, obviously, but water. We need water to make Jell-O, and then you're going to do is you're going to start to heat it up. Now, we'll talk about the heating phase in a moment, but the first thing we have to understand is your body is 70% water. So if we're not drinking enough water, what's happening? Your body can't be as healthy as it's supposed to. Amazingly, your nervous system is 90% water. The discs in your spine are 88% water. Okay? Now, the interesting thing about your discs, I talked earlier about some specific tissues in your body that actually have no blood supply. Your discs are one of those things. They're a white tissue, and a white tissue means no blood supply. And so what happens is, when we have subluxation in the spine, your spine shifts out of alignment, that joint just stopped moving. So what you did is that joint lost the ability to hydrate that disc, because motion was pumping water nutrients into those discs. Subluxation stopped moving. Then we added the fact that we sit too much, poor posture, and we're putting more stress on that disc. And what happens is, slowly over time, that disc starts to shrink smaller, and it gets smaller. And now all of a sudden you start to lose the cushioning between the joint, and what happens? There's more stress being put on the bones, and the body's smart. It's like this area's under stress, we've got to make it stronger. So your body will actually start to lay down more bone to try and strengthen and stabilize and shore up that areas under stress. What I just described? Degeneration, arthritis. All these things develop because of lack of motion that started with the subluxation, increased stress on the joint because of poor posture, sitting too much, breakdown to the disc, and now we've got arthritis, degeneration developing. So, how do we go about changing that? One, we gotta get the spine adjusted to get it moving again, then we gotta pump up water into those discs. Okay? And so, we're gonna be talking about pumping them up here in a minute. Okay? Amazingly, if we were to lose just a height of 10% off of each disc, you just lost 2 inches. So everybody's like, oh, I'm shrinking. Yeah, you're shrinking because your discs are breaking down. Okay? So, how much water should we be drinking every day?
Half your body weight.
Half your body weight in ounces. So, you have 200 pounds, cut that number in half, you need 100 ounces of water a day. But if you're sweating, you're drinking lots of things that dehydrate you, like coffee, alcohol, we need to have more water, right? Number one cause of headaches, muscle spasms, constipation. It's simply just dehydration. So we got to make sure we're drinking enough water. Your body can't deal without it. The next thing is we're going to go through a few nutrients to actually start to help your body get stronger and help you start to relax. And the first thing we're going to have you do when we go through the process, we're actually going to have you take a shot of Himalayan sea salt water. Sounds kind of weird. I heard salt's bad for you. Well, in its processed form, salt can be, yes. But in its natural unprocessed form, Himalayan sea salt is kind of pink. It looks kind of dirty, honestly. What happens with the Himalayan sea salt, there's actually 84 trace minerals and nutrients that are actually in the salt. And when you take that salt in, it actually helps to relax your muscles, and it's going to help you to hold on to water. It's kind of like Gatorade on steroids. And so it's going to help to plump up those dehydrated, tight, stiff tissues. Then we're going to have you take a couple supplements, MSM, glucosamine, drink. 3 supplements that actually have been shown to help rebuild damaged joints. So we're going to have you take one of those before we go through the exercises. So we've got some of the building blocks available for your joints. Help relax you and get you prepared. The next thing is we're going to start to warm you up. Now, I know we're all probably, football fans in here. Most of you have good choice and are Packer fans. There's a few people, obviously, I know in here probably have poor choice in football teams. But let's pretend that we're all Packer fans here so we can be friends. So we watch the Packers go and play. Do they just run in the field and play straight out of the locker room? No. They go ahead of time. They warm up. They stretch up. They loosen up. Because if they do, they're going to play better, less likely to get injured, probably going to feel better the next day. Well, if we do the same thing to your spine, it's going to help you adjust easier and help your adjustments to last longer. So the first things we're going to do is a 6-way cervical stretch. 1, 2, 3 ways. Do both sides, 6 ways. Start to create new muscle memory. Start to stretch out those chronically tight muscles from sitting at your computer and looking at your cell phone all day long, okay? And by doing that, it's going to start to help the process so that your spine can start to get healthier again, okay? Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is something called repetitive cervical traction, okay? And I'm going to go over here and show you one of these units here on the wall here, so follow me over. I'm just going to get you started. Now, really cool part about cervical traction, we have a couple different options here in the office, both in the back therapy area as well as up front. And what you're going to do is when you walk up to the cervical traction, you always want to adjust it so basically this flat part's at chin height, okay? I'm not going to do any good up here, right down here. So once you get it at chin height, you're going to pull the curved part behind your neck. The straight part's going to go underneath your chin. Palms are going to be facing you. Elbows are going to be tight to your body. And what you're going to do is basically pretend you're going to sit down. So I was going to pretend I'm just going to stick my pelvis out like I'm going to sit in a chair. And what you're going to do as you squat down, you can see is this is going to start to push the curve into my neck. Now, as it's doing this, we're increasing blood to the muscles to help to loosen up the muscles, help your adjustment to happen easier and last longer. It's starting to work out pushing the curve in your neck. And if you listen closely, did you hear that? Oh, water is getting pumped right in the disc of my spine, helping to increase the flow of water nutrients into your discs to get them healthier. And amazingly, by doing the cervical traction, it's actually helping to stimulate the upper part of your neck to release endorphins. Natural painkillers, your whole body's going to feel better because of the way the motion is starting to be stimulated to release those natural endorphins, okay? The next thing we're going to have you do is we're going to have you come over and we're going to have you hop on one of the wobble chairs. Now the wobble chair, be careful when you sit down because the wobble chair, it wobbles. Now amazing thing with the wobble chair is that different from a ball, a lot of times people wonder if I can sit on a ball, will that work? A ball, like an exercise ball, is too broad of a pivot point. So these wobble chairs are a very small pivot point, so it's going to allow us to get to the discs directly. So when you sit down, what we're going to do is kind of get the hang of it. You might just kind of go side to side to kind of get your body used to it. Maybe front to back, just to kind of get the hang of it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pretend that you're sitting in a box, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to move your pelvis to hit the 4 corners of the box. Now, most people would like to have stronger abs, and guess what? This is going to help with that as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to consciously squeeze your abs, put the belly button to your spine. And what we're going to be doing is as you're going to go through back left, front right, back right, front left, and repeat. So you're just going to do this for about 3, 4, 5 minutes. And what we're doing is we're actually pumping water and nutrients into the discs. We're increasing blood flow to the muscles, okay? We're helping to warm up the tissue, so it's going to help your adjustments to happen easier, as well as your home portion to happen better too as well. Amazingly, as you move and while you're doing this, take and breathe deeply in through your nose, out through your mouth, because what we're doing is we're actually circulating something called cerebral spinal fluid, which is a clear fluid that bathes your brain and spinal cord and oxygen nutrients. So you're actually going to get smarter and have more energy by doing the wobble chair, so everybody wants that. So you may have loved ones sitting on it because they need some help with that too. So So we're gonna go through and do that, it takes a few minutes. But a big thing we have to understand is that the leading cause of disability in the United States today is chronic low back problems. And so if we don't properly rehabilitate the lower back after an injury, it's going to become an ongoing chronic condition that can be debilitating, and in fact, in many Americans, is the number one cause for disability in our country now. The next thing we're going to have you go through then, after we've done the neck and the lower back, is we're going to have you use a thoracic roll. And the thoracic roll is for your mid-back, and what you're going to do is you're going to kind of go right at the base of your rib cage, and what we're going to do is you're going to lift up your pelvis, and guess what? Right off the bat, we are going to get a little ab workout. Everyone wants stronger abs, and so what you're going to do is you're going to roll back right to the base of your neck. Don't roll onto your neck. Arms kind of come up, back down, do a little crunch, and back, and do a little crunch. All the way back, and do a little crunch. You might feel a bit of movement, a little mini chiropractic adjustment at home. That's awesome. Makes our job easier here in the office because it helps to warm up the muscles. Helps to get motion back into the spine so your adjustments can happen easier. Once again, last longer. A lot of times it's going to help to even break up some scar tissue, adhesions that have formed in the spine. And in order for your neck to be able to come back and improve and get that curve back in, we have to make sure the thoracic spine is moving. If you're all jammed up like this, you can't get your head back. Until we get your mid-back moving, that's going to allow your head to start to come back too as well. So those are the basic warm-up exercises that a person will be doing before an adjustment, as well as a valuable part at home too as well. Herniated disc, arthritis, degeneration, all these things are going to be happening here are going to be able to start to be helped and improved upon with the spinal rejuvenation table. Now, it looks kind of weird, kind of crazy looking because it could be done from your neck or it can be done from your lower back. And what happens with this is we're going to go through, get you all warm so you're ready, get the muscles and ligaments and the disc, everything prepared for you actually getting decompressed. And what the table does, it's actually going to be, one, vibrating, which causes the muscle to contract and relax so quickly the muscles get fatigued. And as a result of that, they get tired. And then they're going to basically not be able to resist or fight back. And so by doing that, it's going to allow the table to actually start to traction and pull apart that part of the spine, whether it's your neck or your lower back. And by doing that, it's actually creating like a vacuum. As it pulls apart and opens up those joints, that vacuum is going to start to pull water and nutrients back into the spine. Person has a bulging or herniated disc, it's going to have to pull that material back in. And while it does, it's going to hold it there to start to draw that back in over and over, okay? And so that's something that is going to be extremely important for people with those types of conditions, or if a person even has things like scoliosis, it's going to help start to draw and build those kinks in the spine. But who would not like to lay around and get stronger? Sign me up for that one. Guess what? The spinal rejuvenation table actually helps to strengthen your postural muscles because of the way the vibration causes contraction and relaxation fatigue. Win-win right there. So if that's something that your doctor determined that you need to do, I would say probably anywhere between 15 and 20% of people would benefit from spinal rejuvenation table. Then you'd go get adjusted. Your body's all prepared, ready, willing, and able. If your doctor did need to do or recommend that, then you just go get adjusted after your warm-up exercises. Now, once you're done, we'll get to wear something cool. We talked about the stress x-rays earlier on. Now we get to put that in practice. And what we're going to be doing is after you're done, we get to put the weights on. Both head weights and a lot of times most people hip weights too as well. And what happens is your body's wired to move away from those weights. By putting that head weight on, it's helping to correct that forward head posture. Stimulating your brain going, this is normal. Pull your head back. This is normal. The muscles are going to start to get stronger. It's going to help you to hold your adjustments. It's going to help to accelerate results, and it's going to have to make more permanent change than we could with the adjustments alone. Cool thing in this at home is super easy because all you do is just throw them on and let them do their job. You don't have to put your life on hold, just throw them on. Some people go for a walk, you can be doing stuff around your house. One of the most important things you're going to be doing, but it's also one of the easiest, okay? 20 minutes. You can do that, okay? Now, the last thing you're going to be doing at home, or they're called home fulcrums, is we're going to be going through and working on reshaping. Now, we were talking earlier about making Jell-O, right? We added water, we heated it up, and what's the last thing you do with Jell-O? Is you pour that Jell-O into a mold. Well, I'm going to grab the molds here, and I'm going to mold right before your very eyes. And so what these fulcrums are designed to do is to basically change the shape of your spine. Now, this is the training wheels for your lower back, okay? It's a smaller kind of beginner one. I'll show you a little more advanced, but what happens is, as we've gone through, I'm all heated up, I'm all warmed up, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lay on these fulcrums. And as I lay down on these, my spine is starting to cool down and starting to take the shape of these fulcrums designed to produce a normal 45-degree angle. your discs are starting to open up. Your muscles start to shorten down. Your ligaments start to shorten down and take the shape. Now, this is also the time when you're doing some of those isometric exercises I talked about earlier. Okay? As an example, you might be trying to lift your leg up and hold it. This doesn't look very hard, but if you start doing it for 10 seconds, maybe building up and doing it for 45 seconds, turning your leg out. As we go and you get stronger, we're going to work on showing exercise to build up the strength in the muscles in your lower back and core. Same thing in your neck. You might be trying to push your head straight back, and as we're doing that really hard, we're strengthening and engaging those muscles here in the back to start to shorten down and pull the curve back in your neck as well. And so there's a process we go through to go about changing the shape of your spine through the use of the fulcrums. And you just sit there, and then after that, just let them relax. You can be watching TV, you can be talking to a loved one, reading a book, maybe doing a little prayer meditation. Perfect time to be doing that while you lay on the fulcrums, okay? And so, this is the fun part, because we need to show you some stuff. Here before and after. But the main thing I want to make sure you understand is you have to warm up first. This isn't going to work if you just start laying it. It's going to be sore, it's going to probably have to be, you're not going to get results. You're going to warm up before we can cool down, maybe heat the gel before we cool it down. I did say do it before you go to bed. I just want you to go lay on the couch and be in bad posture for the next couple hours after you do your hard work. So here's the fun part. Here's the before and after x-rays. We're also patients who've gone through the exact program we've been talking about tonight. Here's Brett comes in, he has no curve in his neck, actually -2, over 2 inches of forward head posture. And what we did is we took some follow-up pictures, which we do with everybody, is by putting, going through the program, and we did some before and after x-rays. And what we can see here is, on the follow-up x-ray, what do we have? Look at that curve, starting to come back. His posture's improving, okay? Here's his wife, Emily. Families that get better stay together, that's what I always say. Pretty cool. Obviously, you can see the changes that have gone through in a matter of, less than 6 months here in these particular instances. Here's Pam. You saw Pam last week. Pam comes in, and you can see this is literally 10 years ago. Okay, that's how long Pam has been receiving the benefits of this program and chiropractic care. Pam comes in, just this little tiny thing, hard worker, paints, cleans houses. She has debilitating pain going down her leg. The only way she could function, give her some relief, was doing this. Good luck, right? She tried to paint on a ladder when one leg. Not safe, right? Medical doctor says with bulging disc, we need to do surgery, right? According to the Canadian government, which has universal health care, spinal fusion, which is most type of spinal surgery, 2% success rate. There's a 98% chance you'll be no better or worse. And 67% of people who have one spinal surgery have multiple spinal surgeries. So luckily, Pam did not opt for that. She came to see us. She went through and did everything I talked about tonight. She did the spinal rejuvenation therapy, she did the spinal decompression, she got chiropractic care, and she did her home exercise. And look at the difference. We can see Pam, there's a pretty good looking disc on her initial when she first came in, but look at the discs below. Essentially the bones are almost touching. There's no disc space. She's also got this kind of stair-stepping effect, which means there's been ligament damage and instability. Her spine's kind of sloppy and damaged, okay? Follow up, and you can see in this particular, about 4 months down the road, and look at the difference between this disc and now. It looks completely normal. There's actually disc space coming back and disc space coming back onto there, and that stair-stepping effect is no longer there. 10 years later, Pam is now 66, and she still doesn't have any of the same problems. She's jumping on trampolines with her grandkids. Her life's totally different. There's no drug, there's no surgery that can do that, but you can. Your body's made to heal. And so what we have to do is give the tools to help it to start to heal again. So there's 3 phases of care we're going to go through. We're almost to that point of intensive, corrective, and stabilization. Okay? The first phase is the intensive. We get your body out of crisis. Most times people come in because they're in a lot of pain. Well, that pain is an indication, it's a symptom of a greater problem. Okay? But in order to help you feel better as quick as possible, we actually have to get some repetition to retrain your body to calm the inflammation down and get your body feeling better. We might see it 3 times a week, it might be 5 times a week, depending upon how severe the problem is. For the first at least couple of weeks, okay? Once you are kind of that crisis mode and your body's starting to heal, you're starting to feel better, starting to move better, we can move into more corrective care. Corrective care is a longer period of time, okay? Might not be as frequent, depends upon the person, okay? Some people still might need 3 times a week, some people might need twice a week. There's no absolutes. It's going to vary person to person. There's no cookie cutter approach. We're going to do a re-exam at about 30 days. That's the end of your nerves, and we've started, we'll do it again to monitor your progress, not just pain-wise, but overall function-wise. between 90 to, I'll say, 120 days or more so, we're going to actually follow up with an x-ray, okay, to monitor your progress. We don't want you to be like just out of pain. We want to see your body starting to make change, okay? And so we're going to monitor that. But it does take time. Your muscles are the first thing that need to heal, and it takes 90 to 180 days for your muscles to heal. They're a red tissue. They have a blood supply, but they're still going to take some time to fully heal and hold your spine together. Your home exercise should be done twice a day, okay? This is not forever, but this is where the heavy lifting is happening. Kind of like having braces. Who's had braces on their teeth? And what? Did you wear your braces for like a month or two, or how long? Years, exactly, a couple of years out. So it takes time. Between each tooth, you have 3 ligaments. Between each bone in your spine, 10. So it takes time for those ligaments to start to fully heal, okay? Once the braces come off, what are we supposed to wear to maintain those results? A retainer. And if you don't wear the retainer, what happens? Oh, that was a big waste of time and money, right? Stabilization gear is the exact same thing for your spine. It still is going to take some time, 18 to 24 months for your ligaments to fully heal. Now, ligaments, like your discs, white tissue, no blood supply, so they're a slow healer. So that's why it takes time for them to heal. We might see them in the office once a week to once a month. It's going to vary person to person. Okay, we don't recommend going longer than once a month because you're just not going to maintain those results. Your home exercise should be done at least once a week to maintain those results as well. Okay? So, of those things up there, those last 3, intensive corrective or stabilization, which one do you think is the most important phase of care? Stabilization, exactly. If you're going to invest time, energy, and possibly finances in getting better, it'd make the most sense to keep it that way. Just like a person who had braces and never had a retainer. That would be a waste, right? Stabilization, it's the most important, but it's also the easiest. So, we made it to the end. Doctors do to see if you qualify, okay? If you are someone who's going to benefit from spinal rejuvenation therapy, talk to your doctor here to determine if you're one of those people that would. It's up to you, though. It's a choice. We can't just make you. You're big kids. You can make your own choices, right? But once you do decide to make more permanent change, be excited, be hopeful, be optimistic, because guess what? You actually heal faster when you are. Just like making yourself sick by thinking negative thoughts, you actually get better when you think positive thoughts. You're also going to keep your appointments. You're going to do your exercise to get better results, okay? Last thing, just share it with others. About 3 to 4 people walking into our doors came because a friend or family member sent them here. Also, we ask, just share it with others. Let them know there's an option out there. They don't have to be suffering with these problems. They don't need to. That drug they're taking, they might not need. Those harmful, potentially deadly and damaging opioids that they might be taking, they probably don't need. There might be a surgery they don't need. So all we ask is let them know, I think you should go talk to my chiropractor. Free consultation, free scan of the nervous system, just to see if there's something we can do to help. If there is, we'll tell you. If not, we'll tell you that too. So, with that said, thanks for coming today. I appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, shout them out.